I'm going to turn it over to Director Ria Berg of the Finnish Institute, but I just wanted to welcome you on behalf of the American Academy. I'm Marla Stone, the Mellon Professor of the Humanities, and so we're having the second lecture here tonight. We have the title up on the screen, and we will be having the third lecture back at the American Academy on Monday, 6 o'clock in the lecture room in the main building of the American Academy. So I hope to see all of you there. And a big thank you to the Finnish Institute and to Professor Ria Berg for hosting us here tonight. So thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
Allora, signori e signori, buonasera. Good evening to everybody, and really a warm welcome to the Finnish Institute and to Villa Lante. So we are really very, very happy and honored to be able to organize together with the American Academy in Rome this event, which, as Marla said, is the second lecture in the series of Jerome lectures that are, as we know, among the most prestigious international platforms for presentation of new work in Roman history and culture, and they are delivered both in Rome and in the University of Michigan. And this is the series' 49th year, so really a long and important tradition. And we are also very, very honored and
this is grade 8. No, grade 7. Rhythm and expression.
To the Finnish Institute
Rhythm and expression.
In Rome, Amy
FREDRYCK Chopin.
Distinguished research
grade 7.
professor of classics at the University of California, Los Angeles. As I think we all know, she works with Roman society and culture, especially women's studies, women's history, gender studies, and also Roman comedy, satire, and in particular history of sexuality, something that we are also going to hear about more tonight. So her most recent book of 2017 is entitled Slave Theatre in the Roman Republic, Plautus and Popular Comedy. And this one won the Goodwin Award from the Society of Classical Studies, adding to the multiple awards and prizes that Professor Richlin has won during her career. About other publications, there are so numerous that I cite only two that I'm sure that you know already. The classical and seminal work, the book The Garden of Priapus, Sexuality and Aggression in Roman Humor of 1983. And I would mention also the edited volume Pornography and Representation in Greece and Rome of 1992, which, as I said, for also important works for us in the Finnish Institute. We also have a long tradition of gender studies, starting with Professor Päivi Seppälä's directorship in the 90s, and also these books have been very important part of the syllabus in our courses here. So, Richlin's Jerome lectures spring from her career-long fascination with the simultaneous radical difference and deep continuities between ancient and modern sex-gender systems. For her, one of the great mysteries of history of sexuality is how the Greco-Roman sex-gender system disappeared. And this series of 3 Jerome lectures, which is titled, as you know, the 2 words, The Selective Survival of Latin Erotica from Saint Jerome to Mr. Jerome, traces this story, the story of that shift, showing how pederasty vanished from discourse at the beginning of the heterosexual Europe, yet continued underground through the mid-20th century. And with this introduction, I would like to leave the word to Professor Richlin. So, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next one. Next
Okay, thank you, Professor Stone and Director Berg. It is a great honor to be speaking here at the Finnish Academy, of which I have heard such great things for so many years. I was chagrined to find that I missed the important conference on sexual violence that was held here a couple of weeks ago, I guess, while I was in transit. And now, if I had only really taken it in that I would be speaking here, I would certainly have worked in a comparison between Victorian education and classics and what was going on in Finland at the same time. And I can only hope that you will wind up feeling that there is room here for someone to do some major work. Or maybe it's out there and I just don't know it yet. So please give me bibliography after the talk. All right, in this lecture, I'll be making a big jump from the Renaissance, where I left off on Monday, to the late 18th century. We've already glimpsed, however, a shift from surveillance of sodomy and sodomitical writing, mainly by the church, to enforcement by the state, and a kind of savage censorship that Joan de Jean dates to a case in Paris in 1623. At this point, I want to revisit a very famous passage in Foucault's History of Sexuality, to which I have taken exception in the past. This is number 1 on your handout. As defined by the ancient similar canonical codes, sodomy was a category of forbidden acts. Their perpetrator was nothing more than the juridical subject of them. The 19th century homosexual became a personage, a past, a case history, and a childhood. Now, I've felt since I first read this that it grossly underplays the existence of sexual outgroups from antiquity through the 19th century, even just in Western Europe, and it erases the people who self-identified as members of such groups, of such outgroups, for which there was no shortage of names. However, as we'll see today, these famous lines of Foucault's do contribute to a sense of the nature of the closet in 19th century England. If love dare not speak its name, then what can you call it when you feel it? That what is permissible to know has real consequences in people's lives is one of the main points of Eve Sedgwick's classic study, Epistemology of the Closet, from 1990. I say classic not only to mark its eminence, but because it belongs to a moment of intellectual history